The energy that flows between human beings is a silent river that few manage to decipher. Some believe they perceive it occasionally, like a vague premonition. Others notice it in small flashes during an intense encounter. However, there are those born with the innate ability to read this flow with absolute clarity, as if the feelings, fears, and desires of others were printed in the air with invisible ink. This ability does not depend on divination tricks or advanced psychological studies. It springs from the deep connection between soul and universe, from a sensitivity that transcends all logic and settles in the skin, heart, and gaze. Today we will explore the essence of 4 zodiac signs that possess this mysterious gift. Signs whose vibrations are so fine that they capture nuances impossible to explain with ordinary words. For them, the emotions of others are like notes of an eternal melody. They listen to them, interpret them, and often transform them. The first of these signs is Cancer, ruled by the moon and endowed with an almost ethereal sensitivity. Those born under lunar influence feel the internal tides of their own body and the emotional waves of those around them. Cancer does not only observe gestures or hear words, it perceives the vibration that beats behind every silence, the slight tremor that announces a hidden sorrow, the warmth that reveals a shy love, or the coldness that protects a painful secret. This empathy is not learned. It arises from ancient bonds with primordial water. Just as the moon governs the tides, Cancer guides the emotional currents of the environment, sometimes absorbing them with excessive intensity. The Cancerian person may cry at the anguish of others without immediately understanding that the sadness does not belong to them. They may laugh with a joy that is also not their own, yet it lives in their chest as if it were part of their own heartbeat. To protect their gift, Cancer learns to erect shells of soft light, shields of calm that filter excess vibrations. When they manage to maintain that balance, they become a balm for others, offering authentic comfort, active listening, and an embrace that heals without empty promises. The subtlety of this sign lies in its fertile silence. It does not need great speeches to understand what happens beneath the surface, as intuition speaks to it with a voice clearer than any rational explanation. The second sign endowed with this energetic reading is Scorpio, guardian of hidden mysteries and owner of a magnetism many both fear and admire. If Cancer feels the emotional flow as an open ocean, Scorpio descends into abyssal depths where secrets take shape and density. This sign, guided by Pluto and its relentless metamorphoses, penetrates layers of the psyche that others avoid out of fear of what they might find. The Scorpio gaze pierces armor. It detects the incongruity between what someone says and what they keep silent, smells falsehood before deceit is clearly formulated, and recognizes hidden passion behind gestures of apparent indifference. Scorpio does not need external evidence. The internal vibration of a person is enough to map their desires, fears, and wounds. This sharpness grants them notable power, but also enormous responsibility, as the sensitive information they capture could become a weapon if their own ego is not under control. Therefore, one of the great challenges for those belonging to this sign is to use their gift ethically, without manipulating or harshly judging those who feel exposed by their perception. When channeling their energy with wisdom and compassion, Scorpio becomes a catalyst for transformation. By pointing out what lies in the shadows, they offer the opportunity to heal it, to transmute pain into strength and guilt into understanding. In their presence, masks naturally fall. The authentic, no matter how dark it seems, finds light to be reborn. Each of these 2 signs embodies a different way of reading human energy. Cancer does so from lunar tenderness, with a liquid embrace that envelops and calms. Scorpio operates from Plutonian intensity, uncovering truths seeking recognition. Both play an essential role in the invisible fabric that connects hearts. One soothes, the other awakens. One cradles, the other burns. In both, the secret lies in awareness of their own limits and deep respect for others' privacy. Because reading energy does not mean invading or possessing, but understanding the secret music we all emit and, if possible, helping it resonate more harmoniously. The third sign that embodies the subtle reading of human vibrations is Pisces, that double fish swimming simultaneously in the waters of reality and the oceans of dreams. Ruled by Neptune, their perception transcends the boundaries of time and space. For Pisces, the threads connecting hearts extend beyond the present and tangle with ancestral memories, possible futures, and dimensions where logic dissolves like salt in the sea. The Piscean person feels the sighs no one exhales, the nostalgias not yet born. Their sensitivity is a liquid mirror reflecting what the other barely dares to sense. This oniric faculty expresses itself in sudden visions, premonitory dreams, or a sudden certainty appearing without apparent cause. They do not need to observe gestures or hear stories. A slight change in atmosphere, a pressure, a scent, an imperceptible vibration, suffices to understand the emotional wave about to arrive. However, living with the soul's portals always open demands a delicate art of self-care. Pisces needs periodic retreats, moments of absolute silence where they can empty the cup overloaded with others' impressions. When they forget to reserve those spaces of solitude, they confuse themselves among voices that do not belong to them and end up living dramas that are not theirs. They exhaust themselves navigating storms invented by others, believing the waves hitting them arise from their own tide. The antidote is to anchor consciousness, to remember their singular identity within the vast cosmic ocean. Practices such as meditation, deep breathing, or intuitive art, painting, dancing, writing without filters, act as beacons returning orientation. When Pisces aligns with their center, their gift becomes medicine. They can translate confused emotions into poetic words, transform suffering into music, offer comfort with a simple touch of the hand. Thus, anyone crossing paths with a balanced Piscean may feel their own soul breathe more lightly, as if someone had opened windows in a room locked too long. The fourth sign possessing the gift of reading energy, though surprisingly at first glance, is Sagittarius. Ruled by Jupiter, their reputation associates with exploratory enthusiasm, frank laughter, and the impulse to discover distant horizons. But behind that expansive joy hides a very fine internal compass, capable of detecting a person's authenticity with the same precision as a navigator recognizing star positions. Sagittarius identifies truth not only in speeches, but in the vital pulse behind them. They are guided by vibrational honesty. If someone's story resonates with their heart, they move forward with absolute faith. If they detect falsehood, their inner fire immediately goes out, and they turn away without hesitation. This energetic reading operates as a moral radar. That is why Sagittarius attracts sincere mentors, loyal companions, and experiences that expand their consciousness. Unlike water signs, Sagittarian perception rarely manifests as absorbed emotions or vague visions. It presents as a sharp intuition, a flash of clarity illuminating the scene. In trivial conversation, Sagittarius distinguishes the coherence of a hidden argumentative thread. In a festive environment, they feel the real weight of the atmosphere beyond superficial laughter. Their quest for meaning is, after all, a reading of the deep sense vibrating behind each event. This lucidity may discomfort those preferring to hide behind appearances, but Sagittarius, with their kind nature, often uses humor and philosophy to disarm defenses without hurting others' pride. By pointing out contradictions, they invite growth, mental expansion, and embracing a more authentic version of oneself. However, as with Cancer, Scorpio, and Pisces, this fire sign must balance its own enthusiasm with sensitivity toward others. When their thirst for adventure burns without moderation, they risk trivializing others' pain or precipitating truths the other is not ready to hear. Learning to modulate their frankness is part of the Jupiterian wisdom path. The arrow they shoot must carry not only the sharp tip of truth, but also the soft feather of compassion. Thus, the four signs possessing the gift of reading human energy, Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces, and Sagittarius, constitute a mosaic of complementary sensitivities. The lunar crab embraces and cradles emotional tides. The Plutonian scorpion descends into hidden caves to illuminate repressed treasures. The Neptunian fish swims among collective dreams and whispers healing melodies. The Jupiterian centaur shoots intuition arrows that signal growth roots. Together they remind us that reality is not limited to the visible. Beneath words, gestures, and masks, pulses a subtle fabric that unites hearts in silent dialogue. Those who discover traits of these signs in themselves may recognize flashes of that ability. They may perceive changes in emotional temperature upon entering a room, guess thoughts before they are spoken, or feel the weight of a sadness the other tries to disguise behind a smile. If that sensitivity beats within you, remember the lessons these signs teach. First, protect it with loving boundaries. Not everything you pick up needs to lodge in your chest. Second, purify it through practices that return you to your axis. A walk at dawn, a notebook to pour impressions into, a prayer that clears the mind. Third, put it to the service of good. Offer true listening, provide words that relieve, point out bridges where others only see abysses. In a time when speed and noise try to anesthetize deep perception, cultivating this faculty is an act of courage and love. Listening to another's vibration requires stopping, looking with the soul, tolerating ambiguity, sustaining spaces of silence. But the reward is immense. You will understand that each being is a universe, that each story contains seeds of light waiting to germinate, and that simply accompanying with authentic presence can change destinies. Perhaps there is no need to utter great speeches or promise magical solutions. Your silent availability, your gaze that says, "I see you," your empathy that whispers, "I understand you," will suffice. If the path becomes overwhelming, remember the image of the four guardians. Imagine Cancer offering you their shell of tenderness, Scorpio handing you the torch that illuminates the unknown, Pisces unfolding an ocean of healing dreams, Sagittarius pointing to a clear sky where stars trace new routes. Let these archetypes inspire you to balance sensitivity and strength, depth and joy, introspection and adventure. Because reading people's energy is not an end in itself, but a door to mutual understanding and building more genuine bonds. And in a world thirsty for real empathy, this well-cared-for gift becomes one of the most valuable treasures one can offer. Listen then, to the silent symphony beating beneath words. Tune your inner instrument. Allow the music of souls to resonate through you, transforming you and those around you. In that act of awakened sensitivity, the abundance of meaningful experiences and the beauty of authentic connection will always find a home.